Resume. Well, welcome today to this 6 Steps to Building an Amazing Business workshop. I would like to welcome you to the training session and thank you for investing your time in learning how you can build your business, not only to start it, but also to the next level. So for those of you that don't know me yet, my name's Phil Bajura, and I'm honoured and feel very privileged to have been gained significant business knowledge throughout my 30+ years in senior management roles within the corporate food industry, and then in being in business for myself since 2006. So during that time, I've been responsible for implementing significant cultural change in many different and varied business environments, and I look forward to sharing some of this experience with you today. Now, my purpose here today is to challenge your way of thinking about your business and offer some alternative ideas for improving your business structure now and also into the future. And my goal is to inspire you to identify 3 to 5 key things that you want to take away and immediately implement back into your business. Now, it'll be those 3 to 5 things that change the way in which customers view your business to start with, but then ultimately how they buy from you and not your competitor. I'd like to treat this as a workshop and be interacting with each other as if we were actually in a live seminar. So please keep your cameras on, and if you have a question, please unmute yourself and then jump into the conversation. Now, we've got a lot to cover today, so take as many notes as you need, and if you have any questions, please jump in and ask the question. Is that okay? All right, thumbs up. All right, sorry, I'm just going to have to move that over there. Now, a little bit about Action Coach. So it was first started in 1993 in Queensland by Brad Sugars and has grown rapidly with over 1,000 offices in 80+ countries, which are worldwide today. The thing that makes us unique is that because we have more than 1,000 coaches around the world and we attend at least 2 conferences a year where we meet with each other as coaches, and then we form relationships with them. So there is a great depth of knowledge and resources that we can draw on. Now, focus is on small and medium-sized business community. So at the end of next week, I'm heading off to Phuket for our 30th global conference. And Barbara, will be meeting up with some coaches from Canada. So that's something that maybe we need to talk about later. In terms of a little bit about the point of power. Now, we all know people that lay in their bed and all they want to do is lay blame, find excuses, even worse, live in denial. We also know people that take their oar and they steer their ship in the direction that they want to go through taking ownership, being accountable, and also being responsible. Below that point of power is when people feel in a powerless situation. They don't know which way to turn, they don't know which way to go, they don't know, well, what's the next thing I need to do? Whereas people who are above that point of power, they know exactly where they're going, they know what the next step is, and that's how they're achieving. Above the point of power is about the what, the when, and the how, whereas below the point of power is about the who, the why, and withdraw. And below the point of power is about reasons, above the point of power is about results. So it's important that you really understand that point of power. And what I advise people is, yes, we can go below that point of power from time to time, sometimes daily. what's important is when you recognize that you're below that point of power, is that give yourself permission to be there for up to 1 hour. Now, the trick here is once you've identified you're below that point of power, within that 1 hour, you've got to work out, well, how do I get myself back above again? And look, it may be, you've got to work out what is the thing that does it for you. For some people, it may be go and have a coffee. Some people will be down tools, go for a walk. Some people might pick up the phone, call somebody, call a friend. So what's important here is when you do recognize you're below that point of power, work out how can you get yourself back up above it again so that you can keep working towards your goals and actions. So I liken a business to a tree. So if your business is not growing, then you're dying. So there is no, if you think about a tree, it's either growing or dying. There's no stagnant point about the tree. And it's the same in business. So it's important to understand that you must be continually growing. Now, what you'll get from today's session will be some what I call BFOs, blinding flashes of the obvious. Now, while some of what I cover you may have heard before, it's important that take it on board and see what else you can learn from it. On average, there's 44 small businesses closing their doors each day, according to the Australian Bureau of Statistics. Now, statistics also say that 80% of businesses will fail in the first 5 years. More surprisingly, 80% of the remaining businesses will fail in the next 5 years. Given the current global economic position, the numbers of businesses closing in 22-23 is significantly higher. So as business owners, at this point in time, our focus must be that our own and other businesses generate. At Action Coach, our long-term focus for business is that 100% of businesses and business owners expanding their success and achieving their goals and dreams. Another point is having more than 75% of businesses selling for a multiple of earnings to create a wealth event when the owner is ready to exit. So that is having a return on investment or an ROI for the time, money, and effort that they've invested into their own businesses. So for most businesses, the owner only ever has a job. And when they finish the business, they close the door, and therefore there's no return for the time and effort that they have invested into their business. And it's important to remember here, particularly for you, Barbara, is starting a business, start with the end in mind. What's your business going to look like once you're finished with it? Another point that we focus on is businesses recruiting, developing, and retaining great team members. And right now, I know here in Australia, it's one of the skill shortages is one of the biggest issues that most businesses are facing, is finding and developing and retaining those great team members. And then another area that we also focus on is in supporting profitable businesses that are contributing to building stronger local communities. Now, the number one reason for business failure is that business owners failing to seek outside advice soon enough. So your focus should be on managing mindset, not only your own mindset, but the mindset of your team and also your customers. So, and do it, whoops, jumping ahead too quickly. So focusing on ownership, accountability, and responsible. That is, everybody, yourself, your team, customers, playing above that point of power line. It's also about identifying the gap between stimulus and action, and identifying where change in direction can, or in some cases, even should occur. It's slow down and think. And by that, what I mean is adopting a critical path thinking. Thinking about, well, where are we at now? What do we need to do? And what's the most important thing that's going to give us a result right now? Another thing is to seek assistance when you run out of ideas or are not sure where to start. So it's important that you don't leave it too late in seeking help. All right. Now, I guess what we talk about here is the strategy of sit and wait versus proactivity. And one of the biggest things that I see is that holds people back is a fear of the unknown. And this is where the formula for change becomes really important. And you might want to write this formula down. So it's D times B plus F needs to be greater than R. So what does that really mean? So D is dissatisfaction. It's the dissatisfaction of where you're at the moment versus the vision that you have of where you could or even should be. The F is about taking the first steps. So your dissatisfaction times your vision plus those first steps needs to be greater than the resistance that's actually holding you back. Now, this formula for change is something that can apply in a multitude of different areas, not only just business. I essentially run 4 coaching programs which enable business owners to enhance their businesses and obtain the results and business that they dream about. There will always be an opportunity later on to express your interest in how we might be able to work together. So one coaching is you and I working together to identify the goals that you will work on each fortnight. Mentor Club is the same as the one-to-one coaching, but working together with up to 4 business owners in a group. Our Growth Club is a quarterly workshop where business owners come together to create their 90-day plan, creating the goals and the action steps that will enable them to achieve their 90-day plan. And then Action Membership is our latest program that focuses on the acronym of CARE. It's about building community, being accountable to do the things that you know and say that you should be doing. It's about achieving results and also about education. Now, unfortunately for the attendees on this, Action Membership won't be an option because we do that locally in Albury. It's actually a live event. Now, our definition of a real business or a successful business is a commercial, profitable enterprise that works without you. So, Barbara, when you're thinking about your business, it's important that you consider how can you build a business that ultimately will work without you. So there's 6 areas to follow to get massive results in your business. The first step is what we call mastery of your business. It's about eliminating the chaos and getting back into control. And the outcome is that your business then becomes stable. The second step is niche, where you're developing creative marketing for your products and services. You're able to predict your cash flow by knowing what your market is and therefore, you're not concerned about making payroll at the end of the month or even paying the bills. So niche is about predictable cash flow. The third step then is leverage. This is where you can start leveraging yourself out of the business and creating more time for yourself to do the things that are important for you. And there's only 4 ways to use leverage systems in a business, and I'll go into that in more detail shortly. The 4th step is team, and this is where the team produces a structure for growth. You now have the ability to take longer vacations and trust that your team is managing your business for you. At this level, this is where a general manager can be brought into the business to run it for you. The 5th step then is synergy. And this is where everything seems to be clicking in your business. You can begin strategizing on your next stage of entrepreneurial activity. The business is a well-oiled machine. Passive income can then be generated from the business, or the owner can even duplicate or even sell the business. And then the final step is results. This is where the owner is reaping the rewards of the business and is investing in other businesses or takes time for their own personal growth. So these are the 6 steps to massive results. All right, so I guess, if we align this back to what our definition of a successful business is, mastery is where we have that commercial enterprise. Niche is where we have that commercial profitable enterprise. Leverage is that works, and team is without you. And then when we get to system is about the duplication. So let's just go into more detail now and look at the first step, which is destination mastery. So this is where it's important to begin with the end in mind. So think about, what will your business look like when you're finished with it? It's no use going out and building a business if you have no idea of where you're going. No use defining what you don't want. What you must do is define what you do want, and clarity plus action then leads to success. The next, it's also important here that you define the path your business follows. So decide now. Remember to start with that end in mind. So things that you also need to consider is your vision, your purpose, and your mission statements. And it's important that you actually write those down. So when considering your vision, mission, and purpose, the things to consider would be, why does the business exist? And what products and services does our business offer? How does the business serve its customers, and what keeps them coming back? Another area to consider is, what is the point of difference? That is your USP or unique selling proposition that then sets your business apart from your competitors. Another area is, how is the business structured and how many team members do we need? When you think about your organization structure, that is the people that you have in the business or the positions that you have in the business, do a map, an organization chart, what the business is going to look like in 5 years' time. So how many people will you need? What positions do you actually need to look to fill? It's important to come back and then review your vision, mission, and purpose statements on a regular basis to ensure that they're congruent with the values and the culture that you are establishing in the business. I guess using Zig Ziglar's one of Zig Ziglar's quotes is, will you look back in life and say, I wish I had, or I'm glad I did? So just something to consider. The next area of mastery, and I hope that you're taking plenty of notes here, and keep in mind that you're looking for those 3 to 5 things that you want to walk away with today. The next area in mastery is money mastery. So not only do you need to know what your historic numbers are, but what are the numbers that will create your future? So too many business owners have no ability to make a decision, let alone the right decision, due to a lack of information. So that is, they don't know their numbers. And if you want to manage something, then first of all, you have to measure it. So we turn to both historic numbers and future, what I call KPIs, or key performance indicators. And this, when you're thinking about the numbers, it needs to be not only in the accounting numbers, but testing and measuring the results in all of the other important areas and drivers within your business. So when you know your numbers, it will help you make better decisions. Shrewd financial management is the key to running a successful business. So to be a success, you must know how to collect, track, save, and spend the money that you do earn very wisely. You must be in control of your money. So that's what money mastery is all about. Money mastery is also about budgeting and reporting. So can I have a show of hands? How many of you currently have a budget for profit? Lucy, do you have a budget for profit?
Can you explain that a little bit more? What do you mean budget for profit?
Yeah, do you have a budget in place to start with?
No.
All right, so you won't have a budget for profit. So what's important when you create your budget is that you understand, well, what is the profit level that I want to achieve in my business?
Oh, I know what you mean. As in, so I know what profit we make on certain things.
Yep. All right. So that's what I would call gross margin.
Okay.
Yeah. And for you, Barbara, this will be one of the tasks that you need to undertake in establishing a business is to create some sort of a budget. Now, what's also important here is for you to know what your daily or your break-even cost is. In some businesses and industries, they can get down to daily. Other businesses and industries, it might be monthly. At a minimum, it needs to be monthly to know what that break-even cost is. So when we work with you, what we'll give you our proven systems for calculating the numbers and help you get that critical information addressed in that first 30 to 90 days. So remember, budgeting and reporting is just stage one of a commercial, profitable enterprise. The next area of mastery is then in time mastery, and this is about productivity. So focus on the timeliness of your high priority tasks. In Alexander Graham Bell's word, before anything else, preparation is the key to success. If you think about a painter, they spend 80% of their time preparing before they start putting the paint on, which only takes them 20% of their time. So when you think about business success, preparation is that key to success. Time is life's greatest asset, and we each have 86,400 seconds every day available to us. Now, how well are you utilizing the time that's available to you? And there's 3 key areas to time mastery that you need to be considering. First of all, there's self-mastery. And self-mastery is about gaining control of yourself and how you're actually using your time. The next area to consider is planning mastery. So how much time are you actually allocating to planning, not only what you need to do in the next hour, today, this week, but also planning that out into 90-day plans. And then delegation mastery is about identifying, well, what are the things that I'm doing that I really should be delegating? What are the things that I should be stopped doing? What are some of the things that I need to start doing? So high productivity and activity is what the outcome is that we're looking to achieve here. And it's that outcome that will enable you to get more done in less time so that you can then do the things that are most important to you. Remember, time is money. The more you can get done in less time is a productivity improvement, and the financial results will then show up on your profit line. The time target. So understand, I guess the first thing is you need to understand where time is being wasted. And so if we look at this time target, the outside yellow part of the circle is those things are not important and not urgent. And I guess we can call these a distraction. And the areas that we can tend to get distracted with is social media, having things open on our computer that distract us. It could be looking at emails that are not important and urgent. And sometimes it can even be the phone if you've got friends calling you all the time. The next area that we look at then is the green area, which is the urgent and not important. And this is what we call delusion. And it's where we're placing an importance on something that's really not that urgent. And most times when I work with business owners, the things that we identify here in this delusion area are the things that they enjoy doing, but it's not the best use or value of their own time. The blue area is then the things that are urgent and important, and that's what we call demand. So that's the things we actually need to be working in the business on, or in the business in our daily hour-by-hour activities that we undertake. And then the red area is what we call not urgent but important, and that's working in the zone. So we could also think about that as the working, what I call working on the business stuff. This is where you're putting things in place that are going to have a direct impact on the operation of the business before it becomes absolutely necessary. Now, the key to time mastery is also in your communication and your communication style. And true communication is the response that you get, regardless of your best intent. So let me explain that. I spent some time in New Guinea working for a chicken processing factory. And one of my expat colleagues and I, we were standing out in the yard of the processing plant one day, talking about, well, you know, what are different ways that we could improve the operation of the business. Whilst we're standing there talking, Tom said, called over one of his national employees, and he said, hey, Bocky, see that pile of rubbish over there? Can you go and grab the ute, put the rubbish in the back of the ute, take it down to the back corner of the paddock and burn it for us? Now, Tom and I, we continued to keep talking for a little while. And about 10 minutes later, Tom said, well, where's Bocky? He should be back by now. And then about another 5 minutes later, we saw him walking up the road. And when he got to us, Tom said, hey, Bocky, where's the ute? And he said, but boss, you told me to take it down the back and burn it. So I'm just using that as I guess true communication is the response you get. So Tom didn't get the response that he was expecting, but when you figured out the way that he communicated, that's what the employee understood that he wanted him to do. So be really, really conscious of how you are communicating and what your communication style is. The next area of mastery is delivery mastery. So it's about consistency with how you're delivering your products and services. So ensure that you, your team and your business are prepared for whatever demands your customers may place on you. How easy are you actually making it for your customers to buy from you? Another thing to consider is, do you have capacity to exceed any pent-up demand that may be placed on the business? And it's important to train and develop the team to deliver superior service to create that wow effect for the business. Now, can you tell me, why is that important for you in your business? Come off mute for that one.
If I wasn't impressed, then I'd go somewhere else.
Exactly, yep.
I didn't hear what Barbara said, sorry.
So if she wasn't impressed, she would go somewhere else. Okay, now what's important here is that you create your own personal and business training plan right now. So it's, how are you going to train and develop your people to deliver great service? It's about creating your own game plan to compete and grow in 2023-24. So identify what are the new normals are going to be in your industry and also your marketplace, particularly with the ever-changing business environments that we all are working in at the present time. What other adaptations will you keep in place permanently? So, for example, through COVID, I closed my Albury office and am now working virtually from my home. And I don't see that this is actually going to change going forward. So virtual is now my new normal. Consider what other adaptations that you will keep as you move forward in the business. So another thing to consider is, how have your competitors adapted and what can you do differently to continue to create that point of difference? It's also identifying then, how have customer expectations and habits changed? So update your pivots and recollections weekly to win. You must be reviewing changes that are occurring in the marketplace at least weekly. So consistency is the foundation for healthy growth in any business. Ensure that you're making it easy for your customers to buy from you. Niche is the next level in the 6 steps. So niche is about having your marketing working for you and creating consistent cash flow. How well mapped out is your own marketing plan? History dictates that there is always a boom after every economic downturn. Now, how prepared are you and your business to then take advantage of those new opportunities as they arise? So how well have you thought through and defined what is your fast forward action plan? What are your market share increase goals right now? Have you set a goal for increasing that market share? Barbara, one of the things that you should be putting down as part of your preparation for your business will be to get some data on how many competitors are in the market for the industry and the business that you're looking to create. So, try and get as much data on that as you can. And then look at, so the last thing is then, how well defined is your action plan to take market share now, as well as throughout 23 and 24? So how do we actually eliminate price competition? And this is about your USP. What is your unique selling proposition? And generally, you'll find several uniquenesses. Right now, it's about finding the one that the market will buy because of. Also, one that is truly unique, not just great service. So test several basic headlines or offers, measure which works the best, and then continue doing it. The ones that are not working, then stop doing them as soon as you possibly can. There's no point wasting money on marketing that's not working. It's important to test that USP, turn it into a single line phrase that you can then be used in all future marketing. Again, test it. Our clients use the Action Coach USP and Guarantee questionnaire system to help them identify and create their own USP phrases. There's a book by Seth Godin called Purple Cow. You're either a remarkable purple cow or you're not. You're either remarkable or invisible. And this is where it's important for you to make your choice. In Seth's words, cows after you've seen 1 or 2 or 10 are boring. A purple cow though, that would be something. And purple cow describes something phenomenal, something counterintuitive and exciting, and basically flat out unbelievable. Every day, consumers come face to face with a lot of boring stuff. In other words, a lot of brown cows. But you can bet that they won't forget a purple cow. And it's not a marketing function that you can slap onto your product or service. So, being a purple cow is inherent. It's built right in, or it's not there, period. In Purple Cow, Seth Godin urges you to put a purple cow into everything that you build and everything that you do to create something that's truly noticeable. It's a manifesto for marketers who want to keep or help create products that are worth marketing in the first place. So think about how can you create that purple cow in your business. And I highly recommend the book, Purple Cow by Seth Godin, to help you with your marketing activities. Now, in terms of the 5 ways formula, essentially this is the business chassis model that's applicable for every business. And I'll explain this a little bit more in a moment in the next slide. So most business owners know how many customers that they have, they know what their revenue is, and they know how much profit they're making. So when we look at the 5 ways, these are just results. And what's important here to understand is what are the things that actually make up the 5 ways. So it's the number of leads that you're getting in times your conversion rate, that is converting them to a sale, that then equals your customers. And then your customers times your average dollar sale, or times the numbers of transactions, how many times they're actually buying from you, then equals your revenue. And then your revenue times your profit margin then equals your overall profit. So going back to, most people know the number of customers they have, the revenue and the profit. If my experience here is that if business owners want to make more profit, they say, well, how do I do that? Well, I need more revenue. Then how do I get more revenue? I need more customers. And then that's all that they focus on. So if they said, I want a 10% increase in profit, they would find enough customers that would just give them the 10%. But when you apply the 5 ways formula, the number of leads times your conversion rate, times the number of transactions, times your average dollar sale, and then multiply that by your profit margins, you will generate, by working on each of those areas, you will generate much more profit. So let's put some numbers in here. So let's assume that the number of leads we're getting in is 4,000 and our conversion rate is 25%, which means that we've got 1,000 customers. If we said that they're buying from us 2 times and that the average dollar sale is $100, that then gives us a revenue of 200,000. And then if our profit margin is 25%, then our overall profit would be 50,000. So let's just assume that we're making a 10% increase on each of those areas of numbers, leads, conversion rates, transactions, average dollar sale and margin. So let's have a look and see what that then does to us. So 10% increase on the number of leads would take us to 4,400. A 10% increase on the conversion rate would take us to 27.5%. And that would then give us a 1,210 customers. If we then looked at the transaction by 10%, takes us to 2.2, and the average dollar to $110, and that would then give us a revenue of $292,820. And if we increase our profit margin by 27.5%, 10% take us to 27.5, and our profit then increases to 80,525%. Now, what that actually means is that we've increased our revenue by 47% and our overall profit by 61%. And that's just by focusing on each of those components of the formula that give you the results of clients, revenue, and profit. And so when we work with our clients, we work on each of those 5 areas, and we've got anywhere between 60 and 90 different strategies that they can work on in each of those areas. So overall, there's more than 365 strategies on how to improve and boost your profits. So it's an important formula to remember, and it's important to remember to work on each area, because you'll exponentially increase your profit as opposed to just working on one thing. Does that make sense? All right, the next area of the 6 steps then is leverage. In his ebook, The E-Myth, Michael Gerber identifies that systems run the business and people run the systems. So what's important here is to understand that people come and people go, while the systems that you have in place will remain constant. Under each of the 3 principles of business, and that being time, team, and money, there are multitudes of systems that can be implemented that will contribute to improving productivity and increasing efficiency on that journey of transforming your business from good to amazing. Now, the 6-step blueprint for business success foundations are set with the systems that you identify and implement into your business. So, all right, so there's essentially, if you think about systems, the acronym is about saving yourself time, energy, and money. So let me illustrate how those systems can save you time, energy, and money. How many of you actually drive to work the same way every day? And have you ever thought about, well, why do I do this? What do you do or think about whilst you're driving mindlessly to work? I'm sure that you're thinking about other things. So the connection here is that when we do the same thing the same way every time, it makes us more efficient and allows for multitasking and creativity. So it's the same when you develop the right systems in your business. So there's basically 9 areas or steps that you need to go through. And yeah, again, coming back to that destination mastery, it's about creating your vision statement, your mission statement, and also a culture statement. The next area is then using SMART goals, creating goals using the SMART principle of specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and also time frame. It's about creating your organizational chart. As I mentioned earlier, thinking about what is your business going to look like in 5 years' time. So how many positions will you need to run your business with the growth that you're going to expect in that time? It's once you've identified what that organizational chart is, it's about then creating those position descriptions. And I'd even go a step further and say creating person profiles for the people that you want to fill in each of those positions. So, thinking about your personality profiles, if you had somebody in sales, are they going to be a different person to the one that you might have doing your accounting or your numbers? So think about the different personality profiles that are best going to suit each of those positions. It's about creating your KPIs. What are the key performance indicators that's going to, I guess, best identify whether your business is working well? So it's not only the financial KPIs, but also your operational KPIs. It's then developing the how-to systems in what I call SOPs, or standard operating procedures. What are the things that you do on a consistent basis that you need to document so that you want the whole team doing the same thing time and time again? It's what I call systematize the routine, humanizing the exceptions. And then the final area is those management systems. So how are you utilizing technology or other management systems to help you run your business more efficiently and more productively? So remember, systems run the business, people run the systems. The people may change, but in fact, documented systems then can become your training manuals for any new team members that you might bring on board. The 4 areas for leveraging a business is testing and measuring. It's about people and education, delivery and distribution, and then systems and technology. So they are really the only 4 areas that you can leverage in business. And it's about, I guess, the old 80-20 rule. Pareto's principle is 80% of your business will be about systems, 20% of it will be about the humanization. So systematize the routine, humanize the exceptions. it's important to then test and measure. So if you're not measuring it, then it's going to be very hard to actually manage it. So think about the important parts of your business that you do need to measure so that you can then manage it better as well. The next area of the 6 steps then is about team. And when we think about team, first of all, let's look at the cycle of business. And this is where the owner takes care of the team take care of the customer then takes care of the business, and the business then takes care of the owner. And I know Richard Branson has a quote which has been challenged by a large number of people, but he's actually right. And where his philosophy is, take better care of your team than you do of your customers. And this is the principle that he's actually applying to it. Now, when we first start out in business, we will be dealing directly with customers. As you then start to grow and start building your teams, that's where you've got to work out a strategy on how you win yourself away from the customers so that you can then take better care of the team, and they are then taking care of the customers. I hope that makes sense. Now, the keys to a winning team. Goodness, I wish I had known this early on in my management career. So the keys to a winning team is, the first one is strong leadership. And this is where you as the business owner must be enhancing and really showing strong leadership with your team. It's about everyone having the common goal. So the common goal will be your vision statement. What is the overall goal that the business is in place for? What is it striving to achieve with its products and services? How is it looking to serve your customers? The rules of the game is about culture. What is the culture that you're developing in your business? Is it a positive culture or is it a negative culture? And obviously, a successful business needs to be centered around a positive culture. And the rules of the game is everybody in the business then understands when they're playing inside the boundary or they're out of bounds. So it's important that you actually understand and communicate those rules of the game. The action plan is about everybody knowing exactly what their role is in the day-to-day activities within the business. So again, your action plan can be related back to your position descriptions as part of your systems. Another important factor here is support risk-taking. And I guess what I mean by that, if you think about the world that we live in today, all the nice things that we have available to us, that only was derived and came from somebody taking a risk somewhere way back in time. That's enabled, I guess, the things that we enjoy today to have been developed. So think about it in your business. Supporting risk-taking is again where you're going to look for improvements in productivity and efficiency, ideas that your team members might come up with in a better way to do something in the business. So it is important to support risk-taking. Now, it's also important to put some caveats around risk-taking. And the first caveat that I apply is that if you do try something and it's not working, or you make a mistake, is tell somebody about it straight away. Because when you communicate that and combining many people together, you can then minimize the impact that that mistake might have on the business or your customers. The second caveat is that if you do make a mistake and you don't tell me, and I will find out, then that's when we'll be having a formal discussion. And the only other time we might have a formal discussion is if you made the same mistake twice. The next area of a winning team is 100% involvement and inclusion. And that means that every team member is involved, they're being included. And what's important here is that, if you identify a team member that's not being involved and included, then you need to have that discussion about why they're not. And in some cases, it may even mean that that team member has to move on. Number 7 is about ongoing training, not only for yourself, but also your team. And training is one of those key things that will lead you to a successful business. It's going to help you retain people if you're training and developing them. And it's also going to lead to having that winning team within the business. And then the last point is to get and know and appreciate your people. What's important here is to understand, well, what makes them tick, what motivates them, what demotivates them even. And so that you can then start to structure their activities around how you can get the best out of your people. Any questions on any of that? No? All right, so again, when you've created a winning team, they know how to get the right people on the bus. So if you could start your business again tomorrow, how many people, including yourself, would you not rehire? Have a think about that one. All right. Now, you get what you tolerate tolerate today, despite your best intent. And the rules of the game is the culture that you want your business to run by. So this is where you must be prepared to draw a line in the sand and act on any instances immediately where someone may be playing outside the rules of the game. So it's when you start to tolerate actions and activities that are out of bounds, then this will be the start of poor culture and bad habits being acceptable in the minds of your team. And you do get what you tolerate. So, some examples that I can use here. I had a client once that had, and this was one of their management staff, were speaking to them in probably not a friendly way. The way they spoke with the rest of the team members was not what you would call part of being a winning team. Now, the business owner went on to tolerate this, and eventually it came to a head where everything really blew up big time. And so rather than the business owner managing that person and then managing them out of the business, it came to the point where it was an abrupt, sorry, you can't work here anymore, and it cost the business owner a lot of money. So it's important that you really identify you do get what you tolerate. So if you're not prepared, if it's ticking you off, make sure you're not prepared to tolerate it. Have the discussion with the team member. And that's one of the things that I guess that when I work with my clients, we follow what I call the counselling procedure, which is counselling for improving performance. So when you have a mindset of trying to improve somebody's performance, as opposed to, I want to get rid of that person because they're ticking me off, it generally ends up as a win-win situation. The next area that we look at in the 6 steps is about mastery. Synergy. Whoops, I'm going too fast there. So in order to get beyond the team stage in your business, first, you must learn how to shed your super person cape. Accept that there are people who can do and will do things better than you ever can, and hire people who are better than what you are. So you have to eliminate the need for doing and delegate those tasks and activities that just cannot and do not match up with the mandated value of your own time. So calculate what the real value of your own hourly rate is worth to the business. And this will help you understand where you should be spending your time. And it may not be the area of the fun stuff that you may really enjoy doing. So it's important here, again, once you get up into the team area in your business, and for both of you, that would be some way down the track, it's important that you identify that, again, the super person syndrome, I liken it to nobody else can do it quicker or better than I can. Therefore, I'm going to do it myself. If you want to grow your business, you want to have a successful business, you need to learn how to let go and start trusting people that they can do things better than you can. So when you've developed that team, you're then ready to install a general manager, and that enables you to then put the business on an autopilot. So when the business is on autopilot, that frees up your time to do and to think about new strategies. Think about what is the next step for the business. Think about how you want to spend your time, whether it's with family, friends. I think you get the picture. So when you put the business on autopilot, it frees you up to do the things that you enjoy doing most. Now, with a general manager in place, you've freed up that time to focus on what is important for you. So the things that you need to be considering here, what are your plans to have the general manager take over the day-to-day operations so that you can achieve that time freedom? Is how do you then put fun and joy back into your business and strengthen your team culture? It's what's your long-term plan to then scale up the business even more? Is it open a new location, franchise the business, maybe even license the business? So how would you like your business to increase in market value and become by far the most valuable asset on your personal balance sheet? Another area to consider here is what multi-generational legacy are you planning to create to change your family's identity and trajectory for generations to come? Are you building a business where your family may want to take it over? So again, it's important here what it is that you really want for your business. And then once we get to step 6, which is the results, you now have the options that you consider for what is next in terms of your own personal growth. Is it starting a new venture? Is it more holidays, more family time? You now have the choice to choose what it is that you actually want. So in Brad Sugar's words, is where you'll be in 5 years will depend on the books that you read, the people that you associate with, and then also the actions that you take. Now, as a reward for investing your time for today's seminar, I'm offering a complimentary 30-minute Zoom call meeting to discover how to get the best value from applying the 6 steps concepts for business and taking it to the next level. Now, we've covered a lot in the last 60 or maybe in close to 80 minutes. Are there any questions that you have? Please come off mute. All right, so in terms then of the have you written down those 3 to 5 key things of value that you've learned today and committed to what actions you'll take immediately? All right, so please come off mute and share what your 2 top takeaways from today's workshop have been. So Lucy, I think you said you've got yours written down. If you'd like to share your top 2 takeaways.
I'm sure. So I guess budgeting and reporting hit home for me.
Yep.
We do know like our profit margin on products and labor and things like that. But Tom and I have sat down a couple of months ago and worked out, I guess, our monthly spend.
Yep.
But I guess, yeah, just really getting concrete evidence of what we're spending and what we're making and what we need to achieve to, I guess, you know, be successful, I suppose.
Yep.
So that was a big one for me. I guess also how can we compete against our other companies, other competitors, sorry. So
yep.
We have a few online stores as well as our electrical business. So I guess we've got lots of different avenues to look at there, whether it's the online stores or whether it's just other electricians in our area.
Yep.
And then the unique selling proposition. How can we stand out? So I guess that kind of goes hand in hand with looking at the other companies and seeing what they're doing.
Yep.
But yeah, and the marketing as well, where we've got a Google Ads manager and we've actually just stopped one of them today and we've got a new one on board. So yeah, trying to grow with marketing and things like that as well.
Yep. All right. Excellent. Well done. Barbara, what's been your top takeaways?
Well, I wrote like 6 pages of notes. So I haven't highlighted more specifically, but in general, I need to start with steps number 1 and 2. So I need to do a bunch of work within the mastery, right? I need to have vision, purpose, mission statements. I need to work on
Yep.
the money mastery, the time, and the key areas, as well as I need to figure out more on the niche, right? Getting the
Yep.
marketing plan. So yeah, a lot.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of work to do, and I hope what we've achieved of starting up a new business is what are those foundations, those foundational aspects of the business that you need to get in place so that you can then build and grow the business from there. And I hope that we've actually achieved that for you today.
Yeah, I have it's good to have kind of a breakdown for sure.
Yeah, okay. All right. So it's time to take some action. And so as I mentioned, I'm offering that 30-minute strategy call session with me. So you can scan the QR code that's come up on the screen now to book that strategy call with me. And what I'll do is I'll reach out for a suitable time that's going to suit our calendars. So again, thank you for investing your time today, and please remember to reach out. I'm here to help. And now it's time to get into action and continue to keep building an amazing business that works without you. So,
Thank you very much.
all right, so